What's good, my people? Real quick, before we get into this particular episode, I do want to give a quick disclaimer and an apology. If you're going to be listening to this episode, you will notice that I do have a few audio mishaps here and there. The audio is cutting off at different intervals. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with my MacBook. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. I've been trying to fix it for the past 30 minutes, and it's looking impossible. Just know that, as you're going to be listening to this particular episode, there are going to be a few audio mishaps where it cuts off at different intervals, and I really do apologize for that. If I can redo the whole thing again without losing the concrete message, I would do it all over again, but please bear with me, and I will try my hardest to make sure this does not happen again in the next episode. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for the episode. Again, everyone, welcome to another episode on Let's Talk About Us with Uche. I am your host, Uche. Thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting me since day one, or anyone who's returning. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate every single one of you guys. If you're new to my podcast, please make sure to download, subscribe, share with your friends and family. If you're listening to me on YouTube, please also make sure to share with your friends and family. Subscribe, and do not forget to hit that bell notification so anytime I upload a video, you'll be the very first to be notified. So today, I feel like it's been a while that I've made one of these episodes where I'm kind of, giving advice, not that I know shit anyway. A lot of this is just based on experiences, observation, and just intuition. But I feel like it's been a while that I talked about, spoke from this kind of perspective. And I kind of wanted to talk about this, because I've had numerous conversations regarding this particular topic with a lot of people. To talk to all my queer people all around the world. Can take away something from this: gay, straight, bisexual, and all the pansexual and all the sexuals out there, Chad. Okay, because the list is long. Primarily, this is more for LGBTQ members, or QTIA. And I've had this conversation so many times with so many different people, especially queer people here in America. Thankfully, America is one of those countries that definitely gives you the opportunity, the privilege to be yourself, to express your sexuality, be who you are, live your truth, and the fact that in America is an individualistic society also makes it easier for you to be yourself without people really reprimanding your overtly discriminatory towards you. But discrimination does happen nonetheless anyway. But throughout my travels, I met a lot of queer people, men and women, black, white, and everything else in between, American and non-American, and the narrative is usually the same. Of course, you have the people who are out and about and open about their sexuality. Those people, to every single one of those people, kudos to you, because it ain't easy. It ain't easy being going against the grain, because let's keep it real. Being gay or being queer is not the preferred in a heteronormative world. So it's definitely very difficult. And to every single one of those people, men and women who are queer and do not conform to heteronormativity, kudos to you. Y'all got big, massive balls, okay? And then to all the non-queer people, the straight people, quote unquote straight, who are allies or who are genuinely, truly in support of people expressing themselves, their sexuality, as queer people, kudos to you too, because without people like you, it would be a hotter mess. Okay, so kudos to every single one of you. But for all the people who are still struggling with their sexuality, who have not necessarily come to terms with their sexuality, especially, I'm excluding anyone, but especially people of color, most especially black people, and even most especially black people from Africa, immigrant black people, because I understand how conservative and very religious Africans can be. African myself, I was born and raised in Nigeria to Nigerian family members, so I understand how obnoxious and just completely irritating that our African traditional ideals can be. So to those people, I just want to kind of talk to some of you, because again, I've met people like that, people who have not come in terms with their sexuality, even here in Houston. Mentioned before, I am queer. I don't hide my sexuality, but at the same time too, I don't necessarily broadcast it. And the reason why I don't broadcast is two reasons. One, it's nobody's business. It's my business. I do what I want, and I do understand that I'm speaking from a place of privilege. Again, living in America, and also the independence that I have attained in my life gives me the privilege to speak so assertively as a queer man, especially a queer man of color. One, and secondly, I'm also a pragmatist. Actually, I'm a hardcore pragmatist. I am not oblivious of the fact that discrimination still stands, especially within the black community, most especially within the African black community, like Nigerians or Africans from Africa, Africans in diaspora who have formed communities in diaspora. I do understand that discrimination does happen. So I am not quick to reveal my sexuality at the first glance of things, but at the same time too, never been in a position where I lie about my sexuality. But when it comes to nitty gritty, when there's a need for it within context, I have never denied my sexuality. Okay, at least not as an adult anyway. But that's me though. Open queer man by choice, and of course there are a lot of people who are open about their sexuality for all kinds of reasons. But I feel like more of a need for someone like me to be open about my sexuality, and the reasons because so many times there's so many different nasty narratives and stigma about being queer, being gay, being LGBTQ, bisexual. Is always something very negative, something so nefarious. Usually, gay men are promiscuous, can't keep a man, can always fucking around and have HIV, all kinds of STDs. They want to fuck everything that moves, be hooked on drugs and alcohol, and just a bunch of losers who cannot amount to anything in society, demonically possessed, and it's a hot fucking mess. Okay. But at the same time too, me as an individual, when I look at myself, when I actually sit down with myself and introspect, I do not conform to any one of those nasty narratives. Okay, I am a successful, independent man who works hard. I'm not hooked on drugs. I'm not hooked on alcohol. I have HIV, and wrong with having HIV, by the way. I feel like I'm going to create an episode where I unpack what's wrong with stigmatization of HIV and why people need to be more empathetic towards LGBTQ members who have HIV or who are living with HIV. I'm going to break that down, so yes, but I'm making it known that I'm not HIV positive does not mean that I'm bashing anyone who is HIV positive. Like I said, I'm going to be making an episode to unpack what's wrong with that stigmatization. But again, going back to what I was saying, as a queer man, I feel like it's more so of a duty in a way for me to be open about my sexuality so that I can inspire some other queer people, men and women, to live their truth. Like, yo, you do not have to conform to this fuckery, because unfortunately the sad that is not even that heteronormativity projects that on the LGBTQ members. The sad part of it is that LGBTQ members embody that because they don't know any better, or we don't know any better. It's already hard enough. We don't have the privilege of talking about our sexuality at home, from cradle. A lot of times you see traditional household is usually the straight people. They're able to express their sexuality or express, maybe at 15, 16, 17, you start having your little girlfriends and, everybody giggles about it. Your mom approves or your dad approves and your mom acts like she's appalled by it. Those things are kind of like a weaning, I suppose, into adulthood. A lot of us queer people don't have that privilege, and unfortunately a lot of us, we don't start exploring or experimenting or even finding out about ourselves until we move away to college. And even at that, that's a hot mess because we're kind of late to the party, and then we have all kinds of other things too, priorities that we're dealing with, like school, probably our first job, and then a lot of us were dealing with other social disadvantages, like probably patriarchy, white supremacy, and all kinds of other fuck shit. So we're kind of like late in the party. Sometimes you don't start to stabilize until maybe like your late 20s and 30s, and unfortunately some people don't even get to stabilize at all, and they get completely lost. Those people who are struggling with their sexuality, again, this is irrespective of your race, gender, and also ethnicity or nationality, but most specifically people of color, and especially people from Africa. There's help. Seriously, seek help, seek mental health therapy. Who knows me on a personal level knows that I'm a huge advocate for mental health. Okay, I have a therapist myself. I've had several therapists. I've been going to therapy for like maybe 5-6 years. Antidepressant medications, I've been on anti-anxiety medications, I've been on all kinds of treatments. I am not ashamed of it. Matter of fact, I embodied it. The reason, because I'm trying to inspire people, educate people that you can get help. If somebody comes into my life and they're like, oh man, you're so smart and you're this and you got your shit together, not just by my making, it's not just by prayers, prayers and all that good shit. That's all good, but if you don't, at the end of the prayer, if you don't actually set time to go find yourself, go soul search as a human being, you will never find yourself. And I've talked about this on so many previous episodes, that the path to self-discovery is often lonely, dark, And I've been there myself. Okay, I remember, and I'm still going through the path of self discovery. It's just that I'm in a much better place than I've ever been, and I really do hope and believe that the future is even brighter for me. But I had to take that leap of faith, and that's what I'm trying to challenge people to do. That, like, go on that soul search. And I know that it's very difficult. It could be very difficult, but sometimes all you need is somebody, a professional who has objective perspective, a neutral perspective, a non-biased perspective to help you find yourself and tap into your fullest potential as a human being. Because unfortunately, a lot of us, we don't have, or we didn't have the privilege of our parents or mothers or fathers or caretakers help us tap into that. Just remember that a queer identity is not your entirety of yourself. Okay, that is just one identity. Just like being a man is not all of your identity, being a woman is not all of your identity, Black person is not all of your identity, being disabled is not all of your identity, being American is not all of your identity. These are all parts of your identity, and it does not condemn or make all of you your holistic being to you than these individual identities. And again, unfortunately, some people may not necessarily tap into that, may not necessarily fulfill them, reach that self-fulfillment or actualization, because no one took a chance on them. Their family didn't take a chance on them. Their caretakers didn't take a chance on them. Society didn't take a chance on them. You can reclaim that now. The therapy, please, every single one, I genuinely believe that every human being, irrespective of who you are, should seek therapy. Okay, like I always say, if I'm a president, if I'm ever the president, child, it would never happen. That shit. But if in some situation where I am in charge of some type of jurisdiction, I will make a law that every single human being seeks therapy. It will be like, like paying taxes. If you don't pay taxes, the IRS come for your ass. If you don't seek mental health, somebody comes for your ass. The government comes for your ass. That kind of leadership I would enforce if I ran shit. Advantage of resources around you and seek mental health help. Okay, especially people who are societally disadvantaged, like queer people, LGBTQ people, and a whole bunch of other people too, who I may not necessarily be covering right now. Another thing that I do want to touch up on again, in as much as I've mentioned before that being a queer person is difficult, I've walked that walk. I've been there, done that. I know how it could eat you up. I know how it could your self-worth. I know how you can feel that you're not good enough. I understand, just me understanding, through sympathy. I understand through empathy because I've been there myself. I know exactly what that feels like. But in as much as that is so fucking heavy, also don't have to tell people about your sexuality unless you're ready. Should be forcing anyone to be coming out. Okay, you should not feel pressure to come out. There's a lot of people who will come out of a closet. Some people, I've seen all kinds of coming out stories. People coming out on Facebook, Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas parties, barbecue parties, and some people at church, chat, to make it a big deal. Do it your way at your own time, and let nobody pressure you. You also don't have to tell people about your sexuality, but most importantly, you do not have to lie about your sexuality. I think this is the part that kills me the most. And I do understand when I see people who lie about their sexuality. A few years ago in Dallas, I was traveling with this guy, a Nigerian guy, and we relinked with one of his old friends, and I just saw the way he was, acting like he was the straightest guy, straighter than arrows. Talk about, I'm gonna fuck this bitch and this, all kinds of foo-foo coon shit, man. I'm gonna be honest, I lost so much respect for him that day. I do understand that he felt the pressure to put up a performance, because this is what a lot of queer people, gay, bisexual, and all kinds of LGBTQ members do. There's a lot of performance, but you don't have to do that. I understand when you're younger, maybe when you're a teenager, or maybe in your early 20s, but a certain age, especially when you have stabilized in your career and you have kind of envisioned the kind of life that you want to live for the rest of your life, until retirement, until you die, it's time to put the foolishness away. Okay, you don't have to perform, you don't have to lie, you don't have to pretend to like women, you don't have to pretend to be somebody that you're not. You also don't have to tell people about your sexuality. Okay, that is a personal thing. That is a very, very personal thing. Just like you're not going to be so quick to tell people what you do for a living, you're not going to be quick to tell people money you make a year or how much taxes you pay. Just like you're not going to be quick to share with certain people your age or maybe your social security number. All these things are personal information. Person Who needs to know about your sexuality is the person who is involved with their sexuality, period. Okay, especially considering the fact that, a lot of people who want to know about your sexuality just want to know because they want to discriminate against you. So why would you deliver yourself in the hands of discrimination? If somebody asks you about your sexuality, don't worry about it. The trick that I always use, it depends on who it is. It could be at work, and fuck all those motherfuckers who don't understand boundaries. Okay, fuck all of them. Every single person who do not understand boundaries, who do not respect boundaries, who don't know how to respect everybody else, people around them, who do not understand how to respect themselves and mind their own fucking business, fuck them. But in a situation, if you're ever in a situation where somebody makes you uncomfortable by asking about your sexuality, two things you can say. If somebody if somebody walks up to you and be like, hey, are you gay? Are you this? Are you that? Ask them, are you interested? If they say yes, tell them you're not interested, so it doesn't matter. And no, you tell them, well, no, then it doesn't matter because you're not interested. Because again, when people ask for your sexuality, it's usually one of two things. It's either they like you and they want to fuck you, or they don't like you and they want to discriminate against you. So do not, unless there's somebody who you're interested in, do not deliver yourself into the hands of gossip, okay? To reiterate, you do not have to tell people about your sexuality. You do not. Okay, nobody owes that. I don't see straight people walking around advertising that they're straight. Okay, you don't have to come out unless you're ready in your own way. And to the fact that you don't have to let people know about your sexuality, you also do not have to lie about it. I think it's really sad when I see a lot of queer people, especially gay men, who are getting married to women, and starting lives with women that they're not attracted to whatsoever. I think that's quite sad and I do understand, and I quite honestly do empathize, but you don't have to be like that because that life is not glamorous. I've met a lot of gay men or queer men in general, and possibly even queer women who have gotten married to women. They're just miserable. They wouldn't say it to you at first. Eventually they confide in you and let you know, and sometimes they don't even have to tell me physically or verbally. I can see it. I can see through the metrics that they're not fulfilled, and it only gets worse. Believe me, I've not been old before, I've not been married before, but I have common sense, chat, and I've met a lot of older gay men who were in heterosexual marriages. It only gets worse. It just piles up. You're going to feel more shitty with each year, especially as you keep getting older. You're going to feel less fulfilled. You're going to be very miserable. That relationship, that marriage is going to build nothing but toxicity. It will spill over to your wife. It will spill over to your children. And unfortunately, in certain cases, you may even lose not just the marriage, but you lose your kids as well. So what the fuck was all that for? Work in yourself right now. Do not lie about your sexuality. Do not try to be somebody that you're not, and please seek therapy, please. I'm sitting here in my house editing this particular podcast episode, and I just remembered that I had omitted a point that I wanted to make about a week ago when I recorded this particular episode. And this is, again, going back to the queer people, and anyone can take anything or something away from this particular point, but specifically queer people. Find your tribe. Okay, find your tribe and build your tribe. To me, my definition of tribe is anyone that you genuinely like and they genuinely like you back. Okay, the key word here is genuine. It has to be genuine liking, not someone you like and they don't like you back, or someone that likes you and you can't be bothered with them, or someone you genuinely like but they fake like you, or you fake like and they genuinely like you. The genuine likeness or likeliness, has to be mutual. That is your tribe. And I think this is very important, especially for gay people, queer people, bisexual people, LGBTQ people, because of the concept of chosen family. A lot of us, we don't have the luxury of coming up in a household, in a loving household, especially if the household is already toxic without the LGBT stuff, without the gay issues and things like that. A lot of households are just very toxic, or just the dynamic is off. Maybe father is not there. Maybe mother is hooked on drugs. Maybe there's all kinds of physical, emotional, sexual abuse going on. Things that don't necessarily have to do with their sexuality. A lot of times, a lot of us come from those families, and this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with gay people in general. I'm just speaking for the regular population, but especially for queer people, we are used to the concept of chosen family. When you go out there, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to embarrass yourself. Your insecurities are going to come alive, but pay attention to your tribe. Pay attention to people you connect with, your heart connects with, your spirit connects with. Those are your tribe. Those are your people you genuinely like, and they genuinely like you back. It's going to be difficult The process is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for you to know who is genuinely interested in you as a human being, as opposed to somebody who wants to take advantage of you. And sometimes they actually may take a while for you to actually know people that you genuinely like. A lot of times we think we like people for who they are because that kind of helps us, but in reality, we actually like that person because of what we also can take advantage of that person from. Maybe because they're attractive and we want to sleep with them, or we want to elevate because of them, or we want to be attached to them because it's good for our self-image and things like that. But it may not necessarily be genuine likeness. Okay, this is part of what I think therapy will help you discover. People that you genuinely like, and in order for you to naturally attract those people, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are, your true person, embody your true person, and I believe that the true people for you would naturally gravitate towards you. Those people will be attracted to you for who you are, and you'll be attracted to those people for who you are, and those people become your tribe. It is extremely important to know your tribe. Again, unfortunately, it's very difficult for us queer people to intermingle in heteronormativity, because it's very difficult. Especially as a man, as a black man. I've been in the military, I've been in college, I've been in spaces where it's predominantly black men, and the order of the day is usually heteronormativity. Everyone's talking about their girlfriends and wives and things that I cannot necessarily relate. For a person who is struggling with their sexuality, that could be choking. Okay, and also being African, being Nigerian, having these African communities in diaspora, it's also very difficult for a queer person from Africa who lives in diaspora to feel included. You may be a traditionalist in a way, you may actually like your culture from your home country, but it could be difficult for you to fully express yourself within those spaces because of fear of discrimination and ostracization. So it is important for you to invest time knowing who your tribe is, people you genuinely like for who they are, and they genuinely like you back for who you are. Like I said, I choose to be open about my sexuality because I hope that somebody could be inspired by it, especially people from my country, Nigeria. Okay, there's a lot of gay men and women from Nigeria. Chad, I'm not trying to spill no tea. I'm not trying to be petty or messy or anything like that, but I'm a realist, man. I don't travel the world. I've been to countries in Asia, in Europe, traveled to many states in America. I've met so many different Nigerians, man, people you would never ever have the clue. Some of these people are celebrities. You would not even have the clue that these people are gay, bisexual, queer, LGBTQ. You would not have the slightest clue. Some of them, I am blessed enough that some of them confided in me, share with me and open up with me, and you can see the pain, you can see the hurt in them. We do exist, okay? Don't let society or this coon-ass Jesus freaks, and I'm not trying to disrespect religion, okay, for all the people who call me antichrist and shit like that, because I've met some people in real life who think I'm anti-religion. Yeah, I could go fuck yourselves. I've never said that, okay? I don't like people who use religion as a weapon, who weaponize religion, when in reality you're just nothing but a hypocrite. But anyway, do not let religion or all these outdated, archaic, traditionalist mentalities get to you. Somebody try to force you to be somebody you're not, so that you can live a life that they want you to live before they accept you. Say no to that. Take charge of your life. I swear to God, I'm not just saying this, I'm not clout chasing, man. I'm saying this from the deepest part of my soul. Seek help. Seek therapy. Anybody, you can email me if I don't care where you live. You can live in America, you can live in Europe. If you need help finding resources for mental health, email me at LetsTalkAboutUsWithUche@gmail.com. I got you. I will help you find a therapist. Trust me. I'll make it a priority. Okay. We need to all win together. We're not all sexual deviants. We're not all losers. We're not all alcoholics. Not all of us have HIV. Not all of us want your man child. Your man, we don't want your man child. That nigga ain't got shit going on for him anyway. Okay. And that's on period. Whatever the fuck it is that they try to project towards us, with nothing but other human beings just trying to survive, just like everybody else. Okay. So that's the end of today's episode. Again, I've been having these conversations with so many people in the past, and I just thought that I should come over here and just shed light on that, because I feel like a lot more people need to hear this. Please share down below, what do you think about this particular episode? Do you agree with me on this message? And if you do not agree with me on this message, please leave your thoughts down below. I do want to read. Please share with your friends and family. The more people I can reach with this, the better. Please also follow me on social media at Instagram and Facebook at Let's Talk with Uche. And like I said earlier, my email address is letstalkawithuche@gmail.com. Website is letstalkaboutus.org. Thank you so much. Until next time.